Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And with about a week before the show's supposed to go on, I figured I'd weigh in on my opinion of the Oscars and why I really don't give a crap anymore. Um, so I think pretty much everybody should know what the Oscars are. You know, it's supposed to be the celebration of movies for the year. The best movies get awards, and so on and so forth. You have, of course, the big ones are Best Director, Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, and so on and so forth down the list. You get the Special Effects Awards, the Music Awards, the Sound Mixing, Best Screenplay, everything under the sun. And I forget exactly how many Oscars there are off the top of my head because they keep adding them for different things. But here's the thing: I don't watch it anymore, and a lot of people don't. They're starting to get record lows for their television numbers. I think last year they fell to, I think it was their second lowest rated Oscars in the history of the show, which was 32 million since they started taking television numbers. And it's probably going to be even lower this year. I think it might dip below 30 million people. And the reasoning for that is because it is no longer about the movies. An award show that is ironically supposed to be the ultimate celebration of movies is no longer about movies. Because this award show has evolved into just a big old circle jerk. And that's really all it is just everybody gets together and they virtue signal and they say all these things that everybody likes. It's essentially an echo chamber, but it's not about the movies anymore. It's about social messages. You saw a few years ago Leonardo DiCaprio won his first Oscar for The Revenant, and you'd think, oh, he won his first Oscar. He's been almost there so many times. Maybe he'll go on this great speech about how it's so great to finally win one. And then first thing he says, climate change is real. Really? You won your first Oscar, and that's the first thing you want to say on a podium? Is that? Or you have George Clooney, who came up for, I think it was Sicaria was what he won for, where he went on this very long-winded speech about how Hollywood has always been on the forefront of social issues with the AIDS epidemic and a bunch of other stuff, civil rights and everything. It's like, look, there are movies that have tackled those issues. Some of them good, some of them bad, but regardless, they're all supposed to be entertainment. And that's what the show is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a celebration of entertainment. It is not supposed to be a celebration of people's issues. And, you can even look back to the 70s and see some of this stuff, like the whole Marlon Brando thing, where he refused to accept the Academy Award for his playing of Vito Corleone in The Godfather, and said he had a Native American person in a full headdress go up and accept the award because of the persecution of the Native American people. I'm like, again, look, if you want to do social issues, that's fine. Do it on your free time. This is not your free time. This is an award show. It's meant to be entertaining. It's meant to be a celebration of the films, not a celebration of you and your little messages. And yeah, I realize it's kind of hypocritical in saying that because people do get awards, but at the same time, you have to be able to balance out, look, it's a celebration of the movies. And in a related note, too, to that is that the movies have gotten progressively less because they value the social message over the film. And this could be seen in a number of ways. And they have had to adjust in recent years to certain things. In 2008, or I think it would have been the 2009 Academy Awards, they snubbed The Dark Knight, who everybody thought was going to get a Best Picture nod or something else. The only thing they got, and the only thing that they won for, or sorry, I shouldn't say the only thing they got, but the only thing that they won for, I believe, was Heath Ledger won his posthumous award for playing the Joker, which he deserved, in my opinion. But I think the only reason they gave him the award was because he died before the movie came out, and that's really the only reason why he even was nominated and received it. Actually, I shouldn't say that. He probably would have been nominated, but I don't think he would have received it if he hadn't died. But the film itself was snubbed from Best Picture, which many people thought was an issue. And as a direct result, they widened the field for Best Picture to 10 pictures as opposed to, I believe at the time it was 5. Now here's my problem with that. Look, we all knew that there was. We all knew that The Dark Knight got snubbed because it didn't have enough social issues in it. I think everybody at the time knew that. And now you have 10 pictures for Best Picture, but here's the thing. Whether you're going to nominate it or not, that doesn't necessarily mean that it deserves to be there. Because you're still going to nominate all your little social justice-y movies, and you're not going to nominate some of the pictures that probably deserve it. But that's really neither here nor there. But, you know, this year is a prime example. There are some films that I 100% don't think should be in Best Picture, Black Panther being one of them. And look, I like Black Panther. I don't think it was a bad movie, but it is not Best Picture. You know, that's a movie you nominate for special effects awards and stuff like that. You don't nominate it for Best Picture. You know, but you know, there are movies in there sometimes that are deserving. You know, I think Bohemian Rhapsody is probably deserving this year. I think A Star is Born is probably deserving this year. I could see those movies getting in. People really enjoyed those movies. But you have to be able to look at these things objectively, and Hollywood cannot do that anymore. And whether you want to say that's from Trump derangement syndrome, whether you want to say that's from the culture war, whether you want to say that's from any number of things, is up to you. But they have lost the narrative. And a message doesn't make a good movie. And that's something that they really don't get. And that's why you see a lot of these movies that are branded as social justice bombing. You saw that with A Wrinkle in Time. That movie was, you know, you want to use the forced diversity angle. That's really what that movie was. And, you know, the numbers showed it. And, you know, you can say that with a number of franchises now that have had that issue happen. But at the same time, ultimately a movie is good based on a number of objective factors that are not taken into consideration anymore. Good writing, for one, which I shouldn't say isn't taken into consideration. Sometimes that one is, especially if the writing is exceptional. Like Jordan Peele's Get Out, that, you know, obviously, and I believe they won Best Screenplay for that, and they were nominated for Best Picture. They didn't win it. But there are other movies that are, I would say, not as intelligently written that get nominated. You know, and the other thing is the Oscars have their darlings. They have their directors that they love. James Cameron is one of those people. And you know, again, it's a thing where I can see why they like him because he's in with a lot of people. But at the same time, I think that there are directors that get snubbed. I think that Christopher Nolan, obviously with The Dark Knight, has been snubbed. I think he got snubbed for some other movies as well in the past, and there's been others. But you have to look at that and say, look, you're obviously playing favorites. It's nothing new, but at the same time, it's not fair to the films that these people make. And at the same time, you have people that are Oscar darlings that people love. You say Roman Polanski. Roman Polanski, even though he had something horrendous happen to him with the Manson family murders, and the murder of his wife and unborn child. Roman Polanski is a scuzzball, and the only reason why he is allowed to keep making movies is because he is in the country of France and they won't extradite him. And I will say this for the Academy. Recently, they have renounced Roman Polanski's Academy status, but for what was it? Probably at least 45 years. He was still a pretty big part of the Academy, and he could vote on movies, and he could do all that stuff. He just couldn't come into the continental United States. And I'm sorry, but you know, the guy fled the United States after he was, you know, after he was going to be convicted of molesting a 14-year-old girl on a movie set. It's pretty scuzzy. And look, I know it was 45 years ago, but at the same time, the guy is still awaiting trial. He was extradited. But the other thing is that Hollywood doesn't really. There are certain issues they like, and there are certain issues they don't like. Issues of race they love, which is why you see, even though I haven't seen the movie, I know the basic idea behind it. But you see movies like Green Book, which is nominated this year, and you could see that with the racism angle. You could see 12 Years a Slave a few years ago. I can't remember off the top of my head some of the other ones that were involving that subject, but it's a prominent subject. But really, they like racism or movies where the central plot revolves around racism to some extent. Homosexuality is another one, or the struggle of homosexuality, which probably is the reason why they nominated Bohemian Rhapsody, because I know they didn't do it for the music. And then the other one, sometimes it depends. It's hit or miss with them whether they nominate things about war, whether or not they're good or bad. And you saw that last year. I believe Hacksaw Ridge got nominated with Andrew Garfield. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that got nominated for Best Picture. But the point is that the award show has been tainted at this point. It is no longer about the movies. The Oscars is about everything but the movies. And that's why I no longer watch it, because there's no point in watching an award show about movies that ultimately has nothing to do with movies. So, whatever your opinion is of the Oscars, please put it below in the comments, leave a like on the video, hit the bell for notifications, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?